Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So for a long time, a full face of Colourpop video was on my list of videos to film, and I didn't own a few products, and so I went online to colourpop.com and I saw a bunch of new fall stuff, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do a full face of Colourpop, but I'm gonna make it a fall kind of edition. You know what I mean? So I'm so excited because there's a new eyeshadow palette. I picked up a new highlighting palette. Also forever ago, I did end up purchasing the No Filter foundation and concealer and powders, and I was meaning to do a review on it and I never did. So I have that foundation here that I'm gonna try out. I've never tried it before, so we're gonna see how that goes. And yeah, I brought some lipsticks, I picked up a new eyeliner, just a lot of fun things. So here's the before and after so you guys can see the final look and see, you know, kind of what we're getting into today. I'm really excited about this, and I just actually barely asked you guys on Instagram what kind of look you want to see with it because I'm so torn with this Good Sport eyeshadow palette. This is from their new like fall launch. I've been swatching it for the past like hour and I can't figure out like what colors I want to use in this tutorial. Like I want to use them all. They're so cool. And so, you know, we'll see how this tutorial goes. So I've already done my brows off camera. I used the Colourpop Brow Boss pencil. This is in the shade light brown, filled in the brows, and then I also carved it out with the Colourpop No Filter concealer, and that's all we have right now on the eyes. I'm gonna go ahead and put some concealer on the eyelid. Since I'm not sure what kind of look I'm gonna do, I'm gonna start with the eyes just in case there's fallout. So I'm gonna put a little bit of this concealer on. This is in the shade Fair 5. And I'm just gonna go ahead and blend that out with a sponge. I'm gonna check my Instagram really quick and see what the verdict is on this poll that I did. 46% of you guys want cool tone, 54% want warm tone so far. I mean, that's like pretty close. I might have to do like a mixture, but I don't know. We'll see how this all goes. So I'm actually gonna take the Colourpop No Filter Sheer Pressed Powder. Picked up a couple shades of this, and I'm gonna put the shade, oh, do I want fair or light? Yeah, I think I'm gonna use the shade Fair to set my eyes. So I'm just gonna put my brush directly into this. This is my first time using it. And I'm just gonna go ahead and set the concealer on the eyelids. So far so good. That has a really nice like buttery texture. Feels really soft. All right, so now let's dip into the eyeshadow palette. I think I'm gonna start off with this shade right here called High Hopes. It's just a good basic shade to start with. It's a nice warm toned brown, and since I can't seem to decide on an eye look, we're just gonna start here so that we have something to work with, and we'll just go from here. So I'm just gonna go back and forth in windshield wiper motions. If you guys don't know, Colourpop shadows are some of my favorite formulas out there. I can't believe they are so affordable because the formula really is amazing. So if you've been eyeing a Colourpop palette, or they have the single shadows, if there's any eyeshadows from Colourpop that you've been eyeing, definitely pick them up. I would highly recommend the formula. It is so good. I'm just gonna go ahead and do the same thing on this eye. I'm just going back and forth, really blending it out until both sides are as pigmented as I want and both sides look even. All right, I'm gonna take the mustard yellow shade in this palette, which is so pretty. This is called Trooper, and I'm just gonna start by patting that in like the center of the eye. Since most of you guys are saying you want warm tones, I'm definitely going to include it. What if I do, I might end up doing like a little bit of purple in this look because the purples are super inspiring to me. So I'm just pressing this on the lid and then taking it up to the crease. Same thing on this eye, from lash line up to the crease, and basically just the center of the lid for now. Next, I'm gonna go into this shade right here called Hooky, and I'm gonna start to build this up on the outer portion of the eye, working it into the yellow shade right here, because I really like the color that it's making when both of those shades are combined. So I'm just gonna kind of buff the shadow here for a while. And I'm actually gonna maybe do a halo eye because I'm liking how that color is looking mixed in with the yellow. So I'm just gonna go ahead and pop this in the inner corner here as well. Is that not looking so fun? I love those two colors mixed. All right, I'm gonna take a little bit of this purple shade called Reckless, like seriously the tiniest bit, and I'm just going to deepen up this outer portion slightly, mostly against the lash line, and then kind of into that outer third. And then with what's left on the brush, I'm just gonna pat that in the inner corner as well. And then I'm gonna take the brush we were using before for the red shadow here and just kind of buff over the edges, making sure it's nice and blended. I'm gonna dip into this shimmery bright yellow called Licious, and I'm gonna lightly start to place this on the center of the eye, focusing most of the product at the lash line and then just kind of fading it upward. And then I'm just kind of touching up the edges of that with the mustard shade again. So next I'm gonna take the Colourpop Cream Gel Liner in Mr. Bing, which is just a nice warm brown, and I'm going to line the top lash line with this from inner corner to outer corner. So now I'm going to take a makeup wipe and just kind of clean up the edges. There wasn't too much fallout with this actually, but I just want to make sure that the edges look nice. I'm going to pat down any harsh lines because I'm keeping a little bit more of a rounded edge over here. All right, I'm going to apply some mascara. Colourpop doesn't make a mascara, so I'm going to use the L'Oreal Voluminous Lash Paradise. I'm going to do about 2 coats on just the top lashes for now. So moving on to face, I actually forgot to pick up a primer and a setting spray, and I know that Colourpop just like came out with some of those, so I don't have one. I'm really sorry. I wish I would have remembered a primer. My skin has been so dry though, so I think I'm going to use the Laura Mercier Hydrating Primer. I already put like tons of moisturizer on and all that. My skin has just been so dry these days. So any sort of lotion or hydrating primer would work. I'm gonna have to place an order and pick up the primer and setting spray later so that we can try those out. Alright, so now I'm going to take the Colourpop No Filter Foundation. I got mine in the shade Light 45. I'm going to give it a shake. It's been kind of sitting in my drawer for a while. Here's what the color looks like. Hopefully this is a good match. I have no idea, you guys. So I'm just going to take a foundation brush and start to blend this out a little bit. I'm not really sure how much coverage I'm going to get. Wow, that's actually blending out pretty nicely. The coverage is pretty good as well. So I'm just kind of applying an initial layer just to spread out the product evenly all over the skin, and then I need to go in with a sponge and take what's left on the back of my hand and use this to really press it into the skin. So I think the shade is a pretty good match. I'm noticing it's really clinging to the dry areas on my skin, but again, my skin's like extra dry right now. I did recently go get a facial and my esthetician told me that the treatment that we did might dry out my skin a little bit, and I feel like it is. So not a lot of makeup has been looking that good on my skin, to be honest, right now, but I do feel like this one's kind of accentuating the dryness. Let's go back into concealer. I'm going to take the Colourpop No Filter Concealer and I'm going to apply a generous amount underneath the eyes to really brighten up that area. I am much more familiar with the Colourpop No Filter Concealer. I've used that for a while now. I've just never used the other products like the foundation and the powder, but I would recommend this concealer. I think it's amazing. I'm going to put some concealer down the center of the face and also kind of along the jawline where I have a lot of breakouts. This concealer tends to oxidize a little bit, so even though it looks extremely light, I still feel like it will look good over blemishes. So that's what we're going to do. And then I'm just going to blend out the rest of the concealer. On the monitor, I feel like my skin looks really nice. Up close though, it's still accentuating some dry areas. Let's just powder it and we'll see how this all goes. I wish my skin wasn't so dry because I feel like it would look actually really nice. I'm going to take the Colourpop No Filter Setting Powder. This is the translucent one. I'm going to pour some of that into my hand because I want to kind of bake the under eye area with this. I'm going to dip my sponge directly into my hand and I'm going to press it under the eyes to bake it. The color of this reminds me so much of the Laura Mercier translucent powder. I'm really curious actually to see how similar it is. I'm also kind of pressing that into the T-zone around the smile lines. I really want to use the No Filter Pressed Powder in the shade Light. I just want to see what that looks like all over the rest of the face. So I'm going to take a big brush and I'm going to set the rest of the face just by pressing that into the skin. And the reason why I'm pressing it instead of like buffing is because I don't want any of that coverage to come up off my face. I just want to set it and add more coverage. Well, as of right now, besides the dry patches on my skin, I really like how flawless this looks. So I'm very hopeful. Let's jump back into the eyes. I'm kind of wondering if I should use something else, like another color on the lower lash line. I'm just going to go back into the mustard yellow called Trooper and run that across the entire lash line. And then I'm going to take High Hopes, which was the shade we used in our transition, that nice warm brown, and I'm going to add that to this outer corner here, up against the lash line and connecting it to existing shadows over here. Alright, now I'm going to take this beautiful green and I want to buff this into the lower lash line just to add a little pop of something different on the lower lash line. I think that looks really nice with the yellows and the reds. This is probably the coolest shade in the palette. I think it's so beautiful. I'm dipping back into High Hopes, which again was that transition shade, and just kind of buffing this underneath slightly. So that way we still have a little bit of definition, but that green can really shine through in that inner corner. I'm going to take the tiniest bit of this shade right here called Sista, and I really just want to smudge that into the lower lash line. I want to do a look with just this shade sometime. It is so beautiful. So I'm just smudging that on the outer third of the lower lash line. I'm adding a little more green with my finger just to make sure we didn't lose too much of that. Then I'm going to take the Mr. Bing eyeliner and just kind of align the waterline. And then I'm just going to add mascara to the lower lashes. This is so much more colorful than what I intentionally was planning on doing, but I've been having so much fun playing with color these days. I don't know if it's like fall in general or what, but I just am having so much fun experimenting with different colors and things that I wouldn't normally choose to wear on an everyday basis, but it helps me like stay creative, and I've really thoroughly enjoyed the end result of just like taking a risk and using a color that I'm not normally comfortable with. I'm just brushing up the brows really quick. Let's warm up the complexion. This is the part where I just feel like I need something in my skin. So I picked up this Colourpop bronzer. It's in the shade Private Party. And I also bought the little case that you can get when you order it. I've never used a Colourpop bronzer, so let's see how this goes. I'm just gonna warm up the cheeks with this. So far I'm liking this shade. They had multiple bronzer shades if you were wondering. I don't know if this is the lightest shade. I want to say it was. And I feel like it's perfect for my skin tone. Making sure to get some of that in the hairline. Also taking some along the jawline and down the neck. And I'm just taking what's left on the brush and running it down the sides of the nose, as well as a little bit underneath and then under the lip as well. I feel like this bronzer is also blending out like a dream. There's been a couple times where I feel like I'm adding too much product and I kind of panicked, and then I just move my brush over lightly and it blends out beautifully. I'm gonna take just a little bit and pat it across the nose. All right, next I picked up a blush. I'm really excited about this shade. This is in the shade To The 10, and I've also never tried a blush from Colourpop. So I'm just going to layer this lightly on the apples of the cheeks. And I'm liking how buildable this is. I'm focusing most of the color on the apples of the cheeks, and then I'm pulling it back a little bit toward the temples. I'm also gonna put a little bit on the bridge of the nose as well. All right, now for the fun part. This Crush On You highlighter palette is so beautiful. It's a super shock cheek palette, so it's got the gel formula. Oh, I'm so very excited. Oh my goodness. Well, we're gonna need to layer some of these on. I think I'm gonna dip my sponge into Drop a Pin, which seems to be a really nice true gold shade, and I'm just going to layer this first all over the high points of the face. I'm definitely going to be layering a couple of these. They're so pretty. I wonder if these are going to dry out since there's not like a lid on them and they're that same super shock formula. All right, next we're gonna go into this shade, which is the lightest one, called Talk in Code. And I'm going to layer that on the very high points of the face. Oh my goodness. That is working so nicely and it looks so beautiful. I'm just gonna bring a little bit of that to the front of the cheeks as I smile. I'm also gonna take some and put it on the Cupid's bow and extremely lightly down the center of the nose. I just don't want any product to be lifted up. I mean, look at that. That is so pretty. Wow, I love it. There's two other shades as well, one pinky one and a more bronzy one, but I feel like with my very fair skin and also the shade of the foundation, I'm just gonna keep it as is. I'm obsessed with how that highlighter looks. Oh, I love it. I'm gonna remove any foundation on the lips. Oh, and before I forget, I want to add an inner corner highlight with the eyeshadow palette. I'm going to take the lightest shade, which is called Wild Out. This looks amazing. I'm actually really excited to put this in the inner corner. So I'm just gonna go ahead and add a little bit of that. Oh my goodness. It's almost got like a peachy undertone, but it's still light enough and bright enough to really add a pop in the inner corner. I love this shade. I'm gonna bring it in a little bit up here like that. And then let's go ahead and pop some of this on the brow bone. All right, I picked up 4 of their fall new lipsticks and I don't know which one I should do. Considering the eye look is pretty bold, I think I might try the nude shade that I bought called Electric Feel. These are their Luxe lipsticks and this is the matte formula, which I don't own any of. So let's see what this looks like. So I feel like I need a lip liner. I'm gonna use the Flower Beauty Petal Palette lip liner in the shade Toffee. So I'm lining and filling in just the edges with this, leaving a little bit of the center untouched so that it creates a more of a 3-dimensional look. I should have picked up a Colourpop lip liner. All right, now I'm gonna go into Electric Feel, which is the nude. Start with that in the center of the lips, and then just kind of press it into the lip liner. I'm adding a little bit more blush to the cheeks, and then lightly blending what's left of the powder brush that we used earlier, just along the edges to diffuse them out. All right, so I'm just going to touch up the brows, that same Colourpop pencil. And then I actually picked up a brow gel. So this is the Brow Boss Gel, and it's the clear shade. I don't know if they make more than one shade. This is the clear one, regardless. So I'm just gonna go ahead and put this through the brows. Well, that is giving me boy brow vibes if I've ever seen it. Wow, I like what that did. So before we lock down the makeup, of course, I'm going to assess the situation and just add a little more bronzer. So since I did not pick up a setting spray from Colourpop, I'm just gonna do my normal 3-step set routine with the Smashbox Photo Finish Primer Water. Take my handy fan and my sponge and just pat this down. And then I'm gonna lock it in with the Urban Decay All Nighter Setting Spray. And then I'm going to go into the pressed powder and just powder the areas that I do not want to get oily throughout the day. So there you have it, you guys. This is the completed look. It's a very unique look, that's for sure, but I really do like how it turned out. I am so inspired by this Good Sport palette from Colourpop. I think it's beautiful, especially for fall. So I hope you guys liked this tutorial, and maybe I will use it in a future tutorial as well, because I'm dying to really focus on like some of the purples, and this shade right here looks amazing as well. So I really want to keep playing with this palette. I also love the new highlighter palette that they came out with. Look at that. Oh my gosh. I'm obsessed. It's so beautiful. So I'm very happy that I picked these two new products up. The lipstick was beautiful. I really like the bronzer. The blush I feel like was a little bit too pink for this look, but you know, it's the only one I got. I did like the formula of it so far. We'll see how long it lasts on the skin and everything like that. The complexion products are the ones that I'm a little bit like unsure about because my skin is so dry right now, so I really don't know if it would look good if my skin wasn't so dry. The foundation I feel like looks great right now. I'm not sure how it will wear, and I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to do a wear test for you guys today on it because I'm pre-filming a ton of videos before I leave town, and so I think I have to film a couple other videos today actually, but next time I wear it for a full day I will definitely update you guys and let you know what I think. The powders though I really enjoyed. The no filter setting powder, the translucent one, I thought was really nice underneath the eyes, and the pressed powders as well. These ones right here, I feel like I'm going to get a lot of use out of those, so I'm very excited about this. This is the first full face of Colourpop video that I've done on my channel, and so let me know if you guys like it. Let me know if you'd like to see more of these full face of Colourpop videos or other brands if you like other brands, because I would really like to focus on certain brands sometimes and just kind of give them a little spotlight moment and then tell you what I love from what I tried out. So let me know if you like these kinds of videos. If you're new here, I would love to have you on board. You can join the family by hitting the subscribe button, and if you want to be notified every single time I post a video, just click on the bell after you subscribe and you'll get a notification on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays every single time I upload. That's it, you guys. I feel like this is like a campfire on my eyes. Do you know what I mean? Fall leaves, falling, camping, that kind of stuff. Thank you so much for always coming back and watching my videos. I love you all so much, and I will see you in my next video. Love you. Bye!